Welcome, welcome. It's great to be here. I know you all are just got a little bit delay, so you're coming in slowly. But I really have to thank my behind the scenes team because this has just been crazy busy. I mean, y'all know it's just crazy busy time. It's fall, which is always crazy busy. But I just can't sneak in a Thursday night. And yet I know those questions and answers are very important to all of us. So they're offering to come in on a Saturday while I'm at the store. It's really, really nice. We actually lock the front door. So we'll have it nice and quiet and we'll be able to address these questions. These are really good questions. I love your questions. Your questions are valid. It shows your thinking and it's wonderful. And sometimes I wonder, what are you thinking? But it's all good. So it's really great to see you all coming in. Hello, all over the place on a Saturday afternoon. We have good weather, hot weather all over the country. That's the good news because I was in Chicago until yesterday and their weather was too hot. Our weather's too hot. It's good. I love it. I love too hot weather. Okay, so remember in this format what we're going to do is the questions have all been given ahead of time. And the reason for that is so that I can answer them intelligently rather than saying, well, you take this and you do that and you go here and you go there. Those words, because they're not very descriptive, this gives me a chance to take some time, diagram them out so you can really understand, or hopefully really understand the answers. For many of you who don't ask questions, I know you have said to me how helpful it is just to watch the Q&As because there's things that come up that you haven't even thought of. That was the goal of this whole thing. So I love that it's working. I know that you all love it, and to the point where I hate to delay it because you've got stuff to do. You've got stuff to do. So we're going to start with this first question. I never say really who the question's from. It's not necessary. But we're going to take a look at this first picture because I diagrammed it out again, and I want to make sure that you understand it. The question is, she wanted to make a trench coat. Pattern number 1925 is our trench coat pattern. She wants to take away the French dart because there really is no difference between a male and female trench coat other than the fact that this one has darts. So this is a pattern making answer, but I want to walk through this. It's not difficult to do, and I'm going to use this diagram that I did. I used red lines, and the red lines are showing you the first step. There's two steps in doing this. You're going to take the French dart, and you're going to cut through the opening, and you're going to cut through to the bust point, basically is what it is. Men actually do have a bust point in their clothing, but they do not have a bust dart because it's not the same amount of depth. You cut up from the bottom. Notice where those two red lines convene to one another. You're going to close up the dart. It will move that dart to the bottom. Now, if you're just listening to this, because I don't have that actually drawn, just literally do it. Like take a trench coat, kind of draw it out, put a French dart in there, cut from the bottom, close up the French dart, and what it will do is open up the bottom. Now, when that happens, it adds what we call added flare. And it's very possible that you don't want added flare at the bottom. But that's why I drew the second line, which is the green line. And you notice that goes from the bottom all the way up to the bottom of the armhole. And all you have to simply do is you could take out exactly what you just added in. Or you can leave a little bit more. Whatever you want to do, that's all styling. But that second line is where whatever amount of fullness was added at the bottom, you can take it off the side seam, take that line straight up to beneath the armhole, and you can take that away. So yes, the answer is yes, very easy to do, and you can completely make that trench coat for a man. It's not just a woman. Okay? All right, so this next question, we don't have a photo for this, and she's got several questions in here. The guide sheet says there's a dot at the top of the sleeve, and there's no dot. And all of our sleeves, you can fold those sleeves in half, and they will mirror image one another. The dot is the very top. And she said, use the midpoint. Yes, use the midpoint. What's the best place to shorten the sleeve? I had answered her on this because she'd emailed me a couple times and she's not aware of the Q&As. So clearly not everyone is. And so we're still trying to direct people to this Q&A format as opposed to answering individually. So she had emailed me a couple times and was losing patience, I could tell. So I went ahead and emailed her privately, but I wanted to expound a little bit on this because I thought it was a good question. She wants to, where does she shorten or lengthen a sleeve? Or where does she use the line? And the answer is it doesn't matter. And sometimes when I answer these questions like this, I feel like it gives you all too much freedom. But the fact of the matter is I have to throw the ball back in your court because, you know, like I've got on a 3/4 sleeve, there's a short sleeve, there's a cap sleeve. it doesn't make a difference. Now, when you talk about if you're trying to just, if it's an angled sleeve and you're trying to just shorten it, then what you're looking for is how much circumference you want at the bottom of your sleeve. So those numbers are numbers that will be known to you and you alone. And those are good things to measure on blouses you like, on jackets you like. Those type of things are all style decisions. And I hate to say, oh, that's just style, but it is, that's just style. And for me to tell you what to do is not something I want to put myself in a place to do. Okay, so shortening or lengthening the sleeve can happen anywhere along the sleeve. Just make sure the circumferences are where you want them to be at the end. This next one, I don't have a photo for it either, because it didn't require I'm sorry, I do have a photo for this one. Sorry, I have a photo for this one. So we're going to bring that photo up. And the question is, if I cut down 3 inches from the top of the back of a to do a rounded back adjustment on a raglan sleeve, do I also cut down 3 inches from the top of the sleeve? The answer is no. So you can see in this photograph what I'm doing. When the back, it's all about the back. The only reason I'm even using the sleeve is because I've got to go to nothing and I have to have a pivot point. So you notice that I put the cut at the center back and it just tapers to nothing. And you want that cut to be just fairly straight across. So there's no exact measurement, but wherever you're putting the roundness of the back, just taper it out, just like this photo shows, and then go ahead and add the amount needed. Okay, very simple to do. All right, that's good for that photo. All right, the next one, I'm going to show you, I think I skipped a question in here. I did. Okay. It doesn't have a photo. We can take, yeah. I still feel like I didn't skip one. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm actually in order. Okay, you guys, if I have found that you sent me a question and I don't have it in here, no, it got skipped. Somehow it got skipped. So in my mind, I think I'm missing one. But I want to go into this one, and we've got 2 photos to show this, and it's a really good question. I do this a lot in workshops, just in Chicago this weekend. I did it several times in this, in these muslins that ladies brought in. Okay, so the question is, and I'm going to show this first photo. The question is she's got, and you can't really see this, so I'll just describe the issue to you. I can see it. I can tell what's wrong. But, I appreciated a photo because a photo is always helpful. So the first thing she wants to do, I've prepared a muslin for 1955 is what this jacket is, jacket 148. It all fits well, apart from the overhanging the shoulders. Even when she inserts 1-inch shoulder pads, she just doesn't like the width of the shoulders. She wants to use a lightweight linen blend. And she wants to use a 1/2-inch shoulder pad. Please advise how to alter the shoulder length. I measured another jacket and I have a 4.5x across the shoulder. Okay, so there's so many red flags through here, it makes me crazy. So let me try to point out red flag number 1. Red flag number 1 is that she used a 5 and that she probably isn't a 5. She probably, a 5W. She probably could take a 4 and grade it up to a 5. And I know that sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but there's a 1 through 4 and there's a 5 through 8W. So when you're doing the 5 through 8W, typically the shoulders are a little bit wider than the 1 through 4. So on the 1 through 4, if she exceeds the circumference on a 4, then that 5 really, really does well. That's a general suggestion from reading this. I'm still going to continue with the way she did, and I'm going to show her how to fix this one. Okay, but keep that in mind. So her shoulders are overhanging. I'm going to go to the next photo, and I'm going to show you in this photo the red line. The red line is what I want you to pay attention to. When you have a princess seam, which you have in this jacket, and you're narrowing those shoulders, you don't even need to touch the armhole. You want to do it from the center front piece. It's piece number 1, 2, or 1/7/ you see on there, and back number 2. Those are the 2 pictures. You can see the red line. What I did is I narrowed it at the shoulder. I tapered to nothing at the bust. I tapered to nothing at the shoulder blade in the back. That's only on that piece. Do not do it in the seam. Do it only on the piece and then sew the seam together. and you'll see it'll just pull that shoulder seam right in and it looks beautiful. When you are measuring the width that you like on your garment, would you hand me that curve right there, please? Thank you. You don't ever want to measure just the width of the shoulder seam because the neckline changes and that measurement is invalid. So you want to take a ruler that's wide enough to go from this seam over to this seam, and that's how you should be measuring it. It should be one measurement from seam to seam, then right in the middle is center front. That way, it doesn't matter how the neckline moves or how the shoulder angle moves and the neckline moves in and out, I've got that constant measurement that is the width of what I want my shoulders to be in a blouse, in a jacket, in a t-shirt, okay? So the fact that she said that it was 4.5 made me really nervous because that means she's only measuring from here to here, and that's never, it's not a constant. I've got to have a constant when I'm doing that. Okay, the next problem is she wants to use a different size shoulder pad. So the pattern calls for 1 inch and she wants to use a 1/2 inch. So that's the green line. And you can see what I did. Now those two have nothing to do with one another. They're both related to the shoulder, I get it, but they're separate, 1, 2, and then 3. So the 2 is the green shoulder pad. You're going to take the shoulder seam up. You're going to redo the angle, which is, those templates are really helpful for that. Just by the way, make your own or buy ours. I don't care which. But you want to pull the shoulder pad up, and then what you have to do, and you can see what I did there on that photo, is I lowered the armhole because I've made that armhole smaller. So I want to lower the armhole back to the original armhole it was, and I'm good to go. I've narrowed the shoulder, I've changed the arm, I've changed the shoulder pad, and I've now got a sleeve that fits into that armhole. Okay, easy enough? The ladies in Chicago said, oh, it's really easy when you say it, okay? But at least if I keep saying it and you keep hearing it, which is these good, you will do that. Okay, we're good with that photo. Okay, there's no photo on this one. She recently purchased the bomber jacket. It's noted on the back of the envelope that if you're using lightweight silks, you'll get a different result. Can you please explain what different result means? Will knit fabrics work? Yes. Not only do wovens work, knits work, lightweight, everything works for that bomber jacket. And when I say you'll get a different result, if I do a silk bomber jacket, I almost get like a blouse. In fact, I can even zip it up and wear it as a blouse. I can wear nothing underneath. It completely covers. It's stylish. I could zip it up and wear it like that. If I'm wearing a heavier fabric, a pontoroma, a quilted fabric, because all of those work with a bomber jacket, it probably wouldn't be as comfortable to wear as a blouse, and it would be more bulky, and I might get warm and I might want to take it off. So your lighter fabrics, you could use cottons, blouse weight, are going to make that bomber jacket to where it's really like a little blouse, as opposed to heavier fabrics are going to make it more like a jacket. Okay, so I hope that explains a little bit more. This next photo, you're going to see that I can't see it. So whoever sent it, and I really hate this because I know that you go to a lot of work to make these up and try to figure it out, but I can't see what the problem is here. I tried to lighten it, I tried to do all kinds of things. This is as light as I could get it. However, I am going to suggest that what you do is you go back through these pant videos. Whatever these problems are, there's probably 2 or 3 of them. I've answered all of them in the pants fitting segments. So if you'll go on the channel, on our silhouette pattern YouTube, and search for pant fitting, you're going to get the answers to this, and you can probably solve it without making another single muslin. But I don't know if so many times I make something up in a black and you guys can't see it, and I understand why, because I can't see this. I can't help you because I can't see it. Okay, so we're good with that photo. These next couple ones, these N2, do not have any photos, so I just wanted to read them and kind of answer the questions for you. My question wasn't on the Q&A. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes we do miss, and I appreciate that you'll answer it again, that you'll send it to me again, because I just get too many emails, they get lost. It's for jeans, and what top stitching thread do you use? And do you use a top stitching needle? I do not use a top stitching needle. I use my 70-10 needle, the same as with everything else. It doesn't mean that's right. That's just what I do. And then for top stitching thread, I just use regular sewing thread. I like it to be a thinner thread. I don't like it, I just like it lighter weight. I find I like a more tone on tone. but those are all personal preferences. So I just wanted to answer you and tell you what I did, and then you could decide what you wanted to do. Hi, when you're doing rounded back on a top, well, I'm going to insert this in, you guys. When you're doing the rounded back on the top and you add the fabric, is it added as a dart? Is it added as a dart, open top and bottom of line, center back, and taper out to nothing? It is a dart. You open the top and the bottom, yes. Center back, yes. And taper out, yes. All of that's yes. Or does the top line of the cut and the bottom line, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make any difference. Just cut 3 inches down, open it up. Typically the top, when you're doing a rounded back and you make that slash, the top will actually go up because it's been pulling back on somebody. So when you slash it, typically the top goes back. So when I'm pinning it, now this is hard to do this on yourself. You'll have to do it in steps. Well, it's not hard to do it on yourself. It's impossible to do it on yourself. You have to just say, okay, I'm going to make the first cut 3 inches down, because I'm telling you from experience, that's where I typically make the first cut. You're going to take it off. You're going to add like 3/4 of an inch to an inch. You're going to pin it all in place, and you're going to put it back on. And if that's not enough, then you'll make a cut like 1.5 inches from the top, and you'll add 3/4 of an inch, and you'll put it back on. But you can't do it on yourself. Like I do it in workshops all the time. And people always say, how do you do this on yourself? You don't. You just have to do it in steps, okay? But I do believe, I'm a big believer that the knowledge is more important than the how-to. You understand how to do it. It's not difficult. It's the knowledge a lot of times that's just lacking. Okay, our last question then here is today. I'd love to order the pattern and sew a cape as part of an evening outfit of an upcoming cruise. How do you most effectively stabilize the back neckline, serge and top stitch, bias tape, make a facing? Now, typically, now, especially when it's a cape and it's a really lightweight garment, the back does not need stabilizing. So just simply top stitch would work. A lot of times I see garments in fashion and they're just stitched on the edge. That the neckline is bias. It is curved. It is biased, typically because the center front's on grain. So to serge and turn under, that works. To do a facing, that works. They're all one and of the same. They are different degrees of reinforcement. Stitching would be the least, serging would be more, top stitching would be another, and of course a facing would be even higher. So you don't need to do a facing if you're not just really concerned about that particular fabric. But if you have concerns, if you're dealing with maybe a knit, and you're concerned the knit won't stabilize, then I would do a facing. I would do a higher degree of reinforcement if you felt like it was going to come undone. And it's okay to kind of like bring in the troops and then not need the troops and send the troops home. It's an okay thing, okay? Because you're just trying to stabilize, and if you overstabilize, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so I think that's all our Q&As today. We've got a couple minutes left. If you have any questions or just concerns that you want to ask us about, please do. This is what this format is for. It's about you. I just love the format. I love that you'll send them to me ahead of time, where I can take some time to diagram them out, because I think you understand just so much more clearer. And I do notice that I feel like the questions are just becoming more and more intellectual. If I could advise you all to just go sometime when you're doing something or relaxing and just turn on the Q&As and just close your eyes and just listen to them. And that way, I think it's called osmosis. They'll just kind of soak in your head. Okay. All right, so any other questions that we have coming in? That means you're as smart and you know everything I know. I have nothing more to tell you. And I do want to tell you something that I'm working on today. We've had something come up, and I'm kind of excited about it. Diana Bouchard is a jewelry designer. She's out of New York. And for some who got to go on the New York trip, we went to her studio and we got to see her jewelry. Her jewelry is Italian made, but extremely well priced. In fact, this necklace is part of her collection. But she is doing a kind of a presentation at the Galleria, and she let me know about it because she wanted me to come by and say hi. And I said, hey, could I open this up to all of my viewers? Could we ask you questions? She said yes. So we are working on, because it's only a 2-day event, it's only today and tomorrow, and I'm here at the store all day. But tonight when I leave, I'm going to go to where she is, and we're going to try to work out the logistics. Can we live stream? can we do all this stuff? Because I'd love you to meet her. I'd love you to see her jewelry. The prices are phenomenal. It's Italian made, but it's just incredible. I mean, the earrings, everything is. And then she also said she'd be willing to like do a little Q&A, so that if you could ask her what kind of jewelry you'd wear this with, or where she'd take it to. She has worked for Dolce & Gabbana. She's collaborated on jewelry for Calvin Klein. She's done so much. She's an incredible person. She's from Dallas, which is, I think, one of the reasons why she does events here. She lives in New York. She has a boutique that's in, I can't remember off the top of my head, anyway, in New York. And so I just thought it'd be really fun. So just watch for it. I will post it later tonight if we get everything working. I'll post the event for tomorrow, and I'll let you know time. But just an FYI, that's kind of what we're working on. And because I've just been too crazy busy, and because we couldn't really see if the internet and all those things would work in the mall, we didn't have a way to do this kind of ahead of time. So we just decided to be last minute, and if it worked, it worked, and if it didn't, it didn't. If you have no notice on YouTube of an event, then you'll know it didn't work. Okay. All right, rounded back is cut and spread. Top cut is spread, top cut, left straight, bottom cut, line dropped only, or fabric adds as a waist-shaped dart. Yeah, that question is kind of not certain of it. It's called a fisheye dart when it's widest in the center and tapers to nothing at the two ends. And if you go back to the photo that I drew, it's photo number 2. We're just going to pull that up pretty quick here. That's what it looks like. It doesn't matter if the top goes up or the bottom goes down. The key is what you're doing is you're adding extra length, and you're adding it at center back only. And when we're dealing with a rounded back, we need added length at center back only. So you're going to cut through the center. It doesn't matter if the top goes up or the back goes down. It doesn't make a difference. It will just give you the added length you need to give that fisheye dart what it needs. So that's the picture. Get that picture in your brain. If it's a raglan, go out to the sleeve. If it's a set-in sleeve, just go to the edge of the armhole. That's the goal you're looking for. Okay? Are you wearing a scarf? Yes. Yeah, I'm wearing a scarf and a necklace. And a microphone. Yeah. Okay? Okay. All right, are we good? Does that help everybody? And I appreciate you being here. And now keep in mind that because we're at the store and I don't know how to run this equipment, I have some backup help here. So this is a little not the same as when we do it in my office, but I do appreciate y'all being here. And I don't see all those screens with all the names. I don't get to say, hey, where are you from, and all that other stuff. But I do really appreciate this, because this is a huge time saver for me, and I did not know how I was going to get this done. So to the team behind the scene, thanks again. And we will see you all hopefully tomorrow. If not, we're going to see you Tuesday night, because we've got a really fun webcast lined up, and it's called Spice. Spice up your fall dressing. Spice up your fall dressing. But we're not going to schedule that yet, too, because I'll get confused on when I schedule a stream. It doesn't take a lot to confuse me. Have y'all figured that out? Okay. All right. So we'll see you all hopefully tomorrow. Thanks for being here, and happy sewing. Bye.